Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today's going to be a quick video on how to waterproof your HB Toys R1001 and HB Toys R1011. Now I've already done the 1011, I just didn't do it on screen. I'll link the video here, it's the upgrade video. I'm just going to quickly go over this and show you how to do it step by step in case you're wondering. Now it's a really simple process, takes about 45 minutes in total to complete, and about 2/3 of that time is waiting for a coat to dry. So first step obviously is to remove the body. Now you may want to pay attention to your receiver and where the lights are plugged in. Now would probably be a good time to label them to make sure that you get them put back in the correct order. I don't have my lights hooked up, I don't care about the lights, I don't run at night, so it doesn't really affect me at all. So we'll pop the body off. And what we're going to do is remove this receiver box here, and we need to pay attention to the order in which we have our electronics plugged into the receiver, which is always servo first, motor second, and in this case the third servo for locking and unlocking the diffs. Alright, so let's jump in. Alright, I've unplugged the electronics. The first step is removing the cover of the receiver, which is just two 2mm hexes. Alright, now we have the receiver in the box disconnected from the chassis. It's actually on the rails, so you have these clips on each side. You just got to pop them up. And we can remove the receiver from the box. And if you've been trailing, now's a good time to clean out the box. So this is what we're going to waterproof, the receiver itself. And for that, what we're going to need is a bottle of conformal coating, a brush, and some paper towels. I'll link this below. This actually comes with 2 brushes, so you don't have to sweat it. I've done 2 vehicles so far. Well, no, actually I've done 1 vehicle so far, and you've seen how much is left. So we'll look at this at the end. So we'll see how many receivers we could actually properly coat. So what I'm going to do is just set down a paper towel here to catch any excess drip, and just have a couple of spares off to the side. So one thing you can do is if you have a spare servo or anything that can plug into your receiver, you can use that to kind of let this hang a bit. Or we can use, actually, let's get this off the clip here for the servo that we replaced. And we can just plug it in. Doesn't really matter which way it goes because it's not going to be used for electronics. And then we can just use it to let it hang here to dry in between. Really what you want to know, you don't want to coat the bind button, you don't want to coat the plugs, and you don't want to coat these inputs for the light. Everything else is essentially fair game. We're going to coat the front, the back, and the sides. But you don't want to cut this because it'll lock it up, or coat this because it'll lock it up, and you don't want to coat these, the pins, because it will make the receiver stop getting a good connection. Alright, it's real simple. Open it, dip your brush in there, let's hold it, and we're going to just try to go even as best we can. Another dip. It's okay to go overboard a little bit, right? We just want to be mindful with what we're actually coating. Just pay attention to not getting stuff where it shouldn't be. Just try to get as even coats as you can. I like to get a little bit on the sides, even though it's not necessarily necessary. But it helps a little bit, especially here where the pins are, to go down the side there a little bit. All right, so that's it. That's one coat. Now, this stuff stinks to high heaven, so be mindful of that. You don't want to sit in here and breathe in the fumes. So what I do the one coat, I like to clean off the brush, set the brush off to the side, recap the coating, wash my hands, wait for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and do it again. Cue SpongeBob 10 minutes later meme, insert it here. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. We've let it dry. And the beauty part of this, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this works on both the R1001 and the R1011 or 1011 or 1011. If you found this helpful, if you could drop a like and a sub, I'd greatly appreciate it. You absolutely do not have to hit the bell. I don't expect you to ever do that, but it helps the algorithm, helps the channel grow, and also YouTube will recommend this video to other people who have the HB Toys Wilderness R10 models. All right, step 2 is just a repeat of step 1. We just get in here, we get our brush nice and coated. I'm gonna hold it on the ends. We're just gonna put another coat down. It's okay to use a lot. It's totally okay. You just want to try to get it in even strokes if you can. It's a little difficult because I'm standing up doing this with a camera in my way to get completely even, but I'm making an effort, okay? And once you start getting a lot, what you'll notice as it kind of hangs here, like that, it'll start pulling down. Pooling, P-O-O-L, into that one spot. So if you can, in a perfect world, if you can keep it like this, do it. But this one isn't going to work like that. All right, so that's done. Gonna set the brush down, recap, wash hands, wait another 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 minutes and we're gonna put on the final coat. And if you're curious about what upgrades I've done to this and you haven't really been following along with the series, I'll put a link in the corner for the playlist for the HB Toy Wilderness R1001 and R1011. All right, as we put on this final coat, know that you can put more than 3 on here. If you want to go 4 or 5, that's okay. You're not going to hurt it as long as you avoid the things we talked about in the beginning. 3 is the minimum. You should do no less than 3. Okay, so let's get the tan on this and finish it up. You can also, as you're doing it, kind of look and see if there's any spot that maybe looks like it's under coated. It doesn't have enough as other spots. It's okay to go overboard. I mean, the idea is to waterproof it, right? All right, so I'm happy with that. If you want to do another coat, it's not going to hurt anything. If anything, it's just going to make it even more waterproof. I find that 3 is pretty good. All right, we'll be back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, and the final coat is relatively dry. I hope the camera picks this up, but do you see the flashes of how shiny it is? If you go back to the beginning when we looked over the receiver, have a look at how shiny it is then compared to now. It's a big difference. All right. Okay, so now we gotta get it placed back in its box. Now, it's pretty simple to do. It's really gonna only go on one way. All your lights are exposed. The antenna is through the hole. You clip this back on. I don't think the rear box matters. And when you put it in, it can fit both ways. But when it comes from the factory, I'm pretty sure that the light hookups are facing out. So while we have it open, or I have it out, let's just plug in channel 1. Plug in channel 2. And then let's find that other servo. Actually, this is the other servo. This goes into 3, goes into 2. Now, if you're doing this and you're looking at the R1011, you're going to have an extra, 2 extra hookups for the servos that lock the front and rear. All right, we're just going to fast forward to this part. All right, so we should test that we hooked everything up properly and that it still functions. That's relatively important that it still works. All right, test servo. Yep. Forward, back. Now let's see if we can lock it. Yep, you see the servo right here, functioning. There we go. Now I wouldn't go hold this underwater to test it, but I can tell you rolls in a creek or in a water, splash is 100% waterproof now. But you should be able to roll it into water, into a creek, and as long as you get it out in a reasonable time frame, you shouldn't experience any issues at all. So that's it. Simple, easy, maybe 10 minutes of actual work, the rest waiting. All right, see you later.